my producer suddenly rang up and he said, "Oh, by the way, they're showing Wind of the Willows in a couple of cinemas in New York and a couple of cinemas in LA." So anyway, so I rushed down to Times Square where the film was on. And it was on one of these little porno cinemas. And it had, the stuck-on lettering, it said Wind in the Willows. So I rushed off to buy an instant camera. And by the time I came back, it was off.
Years before I encountered the Knights Who Say Ni,
The Knights Who Say Ni!
Or whistled along to always look on the bright side of life. Or even before I knew what being a lumberjack was all about. I was first introduced to Monty Python not from a project bearing their name, but rather something totally different.
Oh, hooray!
The 1996 adaptation of The Wind in the Willows, though to me it will always be known by its American title, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Mr. Toad, I can't...
As Kenneth Grahame's 1908 novel did not have the same cultural impact in the US, as a kid, I just assumed that Mr. Toad had been a Disney creation.
So you're a nincompoop.
Solidified by the fact that he even had his own theme park ride.
Oh, it's someone else's horizon! Oh, bliss! Oh, poop, poop!
So I was very excited when I discovered a movie bearing the same title on Blockbuster's new release shelf around 1998.
There's the face again.
But the Mr. Toad in this movie, as I was soon about to realize, was an entirely different animal.
My warmest regards!
He wasn't amusing in the same way that Disney characters typically are, but more so in a witty, tongue-in-cheek, almost naughty kind of way.
Spitting image. I don't look like that.
Oh, it's me! Doesn't look like that! Oh, shut up now!
Which I would later come to recognize as that trademark brand of Python humor.
Of course, I'd have to test it first, just to be certain I really liked it.
The movie may not have Monty Python above its title, but the influence is clearly there.
One of those rabbits is a weasel. No, I'm not. I'm a rabbit.
Excluding Graham Chapman and Terry Gilliam, who is unavailable due to scheduling conflicts, the rest of the Pythons reunited for this movie. Cleese, Idle, Palin, and of course, Terry Jones.
The best that can be done in the circumstances.
Who starred in, wrote, and directed the movie.
There's something that really gets people about it. I think it's something to do with home and something to do with warmth and safety in a wild world.
There's something so genuine about all of the performances in this movie, though. Even the prominent dramatic actors commit to playing these woodland critters with the same conviction that they'd play Shakespeare with.
What are you telling me for? Well,
Perhaps it was that genuineness, though, that ultimately caused this movie to fail upon its release. Lost in an era when talking animals were brought to life on screen, not by grounded performances, but rather dazzling special effects.
And so I face the final curtain.
It was a beautiful film, and it just fell apart, They didn't get distributed, because Disney were going to go to straight to video, and they didn't advertise it. It was just tragic.
Even more tragic is the fact that this movie remains largely unseen today in the US, even by fans of Monty Python.
you're all nincompoops. Toad.
What did I tell you?
So come with me as I explore how a few comedy legends came together to give us the greatest movie that shares a name with a Disney attraction.
Poop, poop. Off I go in it.
But perhaps a more fitting title would have been Monty Python for Kids.
What? They couldn't snitch or snatch him, that elusive Mr. Toad!
When I'm working on a video that profiles an obscure or seemingly forgotten piece of media, I always try to be as thorough as possible in my research. This sometimes requires me to download resources from out-of-date websites that don't always feel the most secure. That's why I have come to trust today's sponsor, ExpressVPN, as a vital tool in my work. All it takes is one click, and my private data is instantly encrypted, shielding my personal information from hackers and bots. Even better, their easy-to-use app is available on all of my devices. And I'm not just protected over public Wi-Fi, as ExpressVPN protects me from hidden risks on my personal network by stopping my internet provider from selling my browsing data to third-party advertisers. With their extensive list of servers, I can access streaming libraries in over 100 countries, ensuring that I'm able to view content that is only available outside of my country. This is the only way today's video would be possible, as this particular movie was unavailable on any streaming platform in the US. But then I simply open ExpressVPN, connect to a new server, and I can now access this movie, along with countless others that are typically unavailable to me. Find out how you can get 4 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/hatsoffent.
What do you find is the most difficult part of sustaining the effort?
Oh, sort of getting up, really.
In the morning?
Yes, and putting the clothes on.
When it came time for Monty Python to make their first original film, they felt that unlike their sketch show and movie, the director should come from within.
And really the direction was the same thing. It was the gradual realization that it was no good writing stuff and performing it. You actually had to control where the camera goes and the locations. You had to control everything if the thing was going to work.
Terry Jones quickly asserted himself as the director. Well, both Terrys did actually, as Terry Gilliam also had an interest in directing.
But I mean, you're all treating them with proper respect.
Well, I mean, there's never been any mutual respect within the Python group at all, as you probably know, but we're withholding a lot of the criticism that we would normally be making.
When asked how he and Gilliam split duties as directors on Holy Grail, Jones said, "We sort of did a tag team. We thought very much the same way."
What was intriguing about it was Terry and I, amongst the group, seemed to be agreed about so many things until we actually started working. And then you realize work habits were different. The way we actually finally resolved our differences was that Terry worked with the group and I stayed back with the camera.
Despite those disagreements, Monty Python and the Holy Grail became a cultural phenomenon that has stood the test of time, cementing both the Terrys as bona fide filmmakers. While Gilliam ventured into the world of dystopian dark fantasy, Jones stuck to what he knew, helming the next 2 Python movies independently of Gilliam, before stepping out of his comfort zone by directing movies like Personal Services and Eric the Viking.
What's wrong with making friends? You don't go through all the hardships of an ocean voyage to make friends. We can make friends at home.
In addition to writing Labyrinth.
Well, I mean, you know, when you do something new, it's always sort of a bit apprehensive and you're not sure whether you really can do it, but it's actually, I like directing it.
He was first approached about directing an adaptation of The Wind in the Willows in 1995. Terry, who had never even read the source novel, was a fan of Alan Bennett's stage adaptation of the material, which coincidentally had just been optioned by Paramount, leading to Terry passing on making his own adaptation. Ironically, that Paramount version ended up getting cancelled due to the fact that Jones's movie came to fruition sooner.
What a stroke of luck!
There was a sense of urgency at play back then, as a proposed European Union law sought to revive the copyright on certain literary works, resulting in a race by several studios to adapt The Wind in the Willows scot-free. Despite passing on the project, Terry decided to finally read the novel, and he found himself identifying with Mr. Toad.
He's so dazzled by that, the new things, that the new toys, that he doesn't see beyond that. So in a way, he's sort of, I mean, he represents that side in all of us.
He developed a newfound excitement over the prospect of adapting the book, now seeing Toad as a role he could play.
And we can set off after lunch!
He was surprised, however, to learn that the project he had been offered was no longer in development. Fortunately, producer Jake Eberts then got in touch, after hearing that Terry might be interested in adapting the work.
Splendid!
Jake had previously served as the executive producer on This Is Spinal Tap, and Terry Gilliam's The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. He was also producing the then-in-production James and the Giant Peach, showing he understood how to creatively adapt kids' stories. Jake encouraged Terry to adapt the story in his own way, something Terry felt was necessary given all the adaptations that had come before. "I didn't just want to produce the book on film," he said. "The book is a gentle, long, and whimsical read. That's why I added more crashes and explosions to quicken the pace." One of those additions came in the form of a death-defying train chase in the final act, inspired by the work of one of Jones's comedy heroes, Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton made such perfect films, really. I mean, he directed them and he wrote them, and he was just an inspiration to me throughout my life, really.
A sequence that was storyboarded shot for shot by Terry.
Oh, faster, faster! Make it go faster!
Toad, you're supposed to be our mother.
Oh, phooey!
Body fascism. That's what that is.
Even with these changes, Terry still wanted the world of the movie to closely resemble Ernest Shepard's illustrations from the 1931 edition of the novel, something the production totally nailed, with many shots looking like they were taken right from the pages of the book.
Ooh la la, très haute cuisine.
For the look of the characters, though, Terry wanted to go with a more minimalist approach that he referred to as a curious theatrical tradition.
Instead of hiding all these great faces under big masks and costumes, he decided to let them act their way into the roles.
Terry had learned to embrace the limitations of filmmaking when directing Holy Grail, finding that less can sometimes be more, especially in regards to makeup.
Did you dress her up like this? No! No! Yes, a bit.
A philosophy he brought with him to this production, saying, "Today's cinematic techniques mean that filmmakers can make anything happen in front of our eyes. We no longer have to bring any element of make-believe to a film, in the way that we do to a theatrical performance. So in a way, our film is a bit of a throwback. The audience has to accept that these humans, with their minimal animal characteristics, are in fact representing animals who are in turn representing human beings."
It's simply glorious!
Fortunately, Terry was able to quickly assemble a cast of trusted collaborators who wouldn't need heavy prosthetics to bring these characters to life, though.
I promise not to insert one part of them into any portion of your anatomy. Right.
All of whom were eager to be involved. Chief amongst them, Steve Coogan.
Now they're dressing him up in women's clothing. Perhaps it's some sort of torture.
A self-professed Monty Python superfan who quoted their bits religiously throughout his youth.
Mi amigo gusta Monty Python.
Speaking on how surreal it was for him to be working with his heroes, he said, "The one thing that doesn't happen to boring people who quote Monty Python sketches is ending up in a Monty Python film."
A guy called Steve Coogan. So remember the name, you heard it here first. Steve Coogan will be a big star in a few years' time. He's already a big star in England.
Though he didn't intend for the movie to be a Monty Python reunion, Terry found himself writing roles for all of his former collaborators, casting John Cleese as a counselor.
See! The very word guilty indelibly imprinted upon his brow!
Michael Palin as the son.
Sorry, can't stop!
And Terry Gilliam as the river, a part that was ultimately scrapped.
Yeah, okay, well, there you go.
The biggest role would be awarded to Eric Idle, though.
I mean, I think we got John for a day, and I got Mike Palin for 2 hours.
Was that fun doing that? It must have
it was
been
very
wonderful.
fun, actually, what was great was having Eric Idle and working with Eric for such a long period, because we've never worked together like that. And I thought he did a wonderful ratty. I thought he was.
Toad, nincompoop is not a compliment.
Yeah, isn't it?
Jones also pursued experienced stage actors for the other characters, including Nicol Williamson as Badger.
Who are they then?
You can get that off with a little bit of salt.
And Anthony Sher as the leader of the movie's villainous weasels.
Yes, we have a plan.
I have a plan.
We both thought of it.
No, you didn't.
Just to do it.
Who are the coolest looking characters in the movie, in my opinion.
They're all right in their own way, but they're just out for themselves. They don't give a hoot for anyone else.
Production designer James Aitchison and costumer Jane Law perfectly brought Terry's concepts to life, blending slight animal characteristics with a turn-of-the-century clothing style.
Dad? Yes, why are you dressed like this? Oh, master of disguise. Fooled everyone.
The most important thing in this is whether you are engaged by those characters and what they say to each other. And if they've got to do it through a big pile of makeup and rubber and plastic, they don't stand too much of a chance, I don't think.
Moly, what was that?
Just my whiskers.
And to Terry's credit, it totally works. Even when acting alongside characters who are supposed to be human, you just totally buy into these characters being animals.
I'm not the simple tea lady I appear to be. I am a toad, and the well-known and popular Mr. Toad, a landed proprietor.
There's so many great little wardrobe touches, like Toad's elongated footwear, or his padded frame.
Toad! Ooh.
I also like that the weasels wear these red gloves, which represented bloody claws.
This is a weasel-only area, and that means nobody's allowed here except weasels. What else could it mean? Just making sure they got the point.
Even this brief shot of a fox, dressed in fox hunting attire, just adds such a whimsy to the look of the movie.
Nincompoops! Oh, that is gross. Disgusting. Oh, mayn't I sing them just one little one?
Toady, you know your songs are just full of self-praise and gas.
Speaking of whimsy, there are a handful of musical numbers throughout the movie, but not a single one overstays its welcome. They're swift, catchy, and all advance the plot.
Police could never catch him.
He was so nimble, Toad.
He escaped from their clutches, but none knows as much as amazing Mr. Toad!
I usually hated musical elements in movies when I was a kid.
Just sing.
Stop that. You're not going into a song while I'm here.
But when I watched this one, I was sad when the songs ended.
I was attacked by weasels. Hundreds of them.
Did they sing a dreadful song?
There's another great recurring gag where Toad gets everyone to sing, which he then uses as a diversion to sneak off, something the other characters grow to despise.
No more songs.
Oh, song, Mr. Toad.
Well, maybe just one little one. No, Toad.
Each number is choreographed and shot in a really inventive way as well. I know Terry Jones is not commonly thought of as a visual filmmaker akin to Terry Gilliam, but Jones, in my opinion, was far more effective at staging comedy.
Today we have for appetizers, excuse me,
From simple sight gags to more elaborate set pieces. For instance, here's a joke where the setup builds slowly, but it makes the payoff much more rewarding. After nearly killing Mole and Rat due to his obsession with automobiles, Badger takes Toad behind locked doors to straighten him out. What follows is a sequence where we hear Badger yelling inaudibly and Toad sobbing.
Goodness only knows what your father would have said.
This goes on for about 30 seconds, before we see Toad exit the room looking absolutely deflated. Badger then instructs him to apologize to the others, and...
You're so eloquent, you can make me say whatever you like in there. But I've been thinking it over out here, and I find that out here, I'm not the least bit sorry. So it's no earthly good saying I am, now is it?
Here's another example. Toad has been arrested for crashing a stolen car and is now on trial. John Cleese, playing one of the counselors, gives a long, vitriolic opening statement about how vile Toad is, before we get to the great payoff.
I understood that you were counsel for the defense. Indeed I am, my lad, but his crime is so blackguardly that this is, in fact, the best defense that can be offered.
Toad is not inherently likable as a character. He's reckless and impulsive. But Terry plays him with just the right amount of charm and innocence. Here's a scene that's very representative of the character. Toad is plotting to escape prison by disguising himself as a tea lady. At the same time, Rat and Mole have devised a much easier escape plan by digging a tunnel directly to his cell.
Two women? What are they doing? Taking his clothes off. What?
But Toad's ego won't allow such a meager escape.
Follow me. Mole's built this tunnel.
Us Toads do things with a bit more dash, a bit more zing.
It's a great character moment that's also indicative of Terry Jones's style as a comedy filmmaker, never taking the easy way out.
You did your own stunts?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it wasn't really a stunt. It was just driving through a hedge. You feel so silly, just sort of put your foot down and go through it.
There's a moral gray area to the character, but it really aids the story, and makes his redemption arc all the more powerful. In doing this, I feel that Terry was trusting kids to form their own opinions on Mr. Toad.
It's not much of a defense, is it?
Honestly, Jones's Toad reminds me a lot of Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka in that regard. Another character we never know if we should trust or not.
Toadie, best not mention anything about this to Badger.
Oh, wouldn't dream of it, old fellow.
I guess that makes it only fair that, much like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, this movie would also flop upon its release in 1996. Reviews for the movie were strong, but it just couldn't seem to find an audience.
This is a delightful woodland romp with many of the best scenes featuring a roly-poly toad.
Give me that. This is a review of Wind in the Willows.
Disney agreed to distribute the movie stateside, but they screened it only in major cities, like New York.
But tell me, where do I fit in?
The diminishing returns theatrically prompted Disney to remarket and retitle the movie, dumping it on home video as Mr. Toad's Wild Ride nearly 2 years later.
It was called Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in America.
Well, that I'd go to, yeah.
A curious decision, as that same year they permanently closed the version of the attraction at Disney World.
Our market research shows...
Nincompoop!
Terry felt that Disney never really understood the movie, saying, Disney had always been reluctant to do much with it. They didn't get the idea of a live-action cartoon and wanted to put it straight out on video.
They're just making money, and that's all they're interested. That's all they can actually do is make money, and so they don't have any ideals. They don't have, and we're supposed to think this is the best system of society.
The title change only hurt this movie, though, causing it to fly further under the radar in the US, making it clear who the real weasels of this story are.
Only the beginning. You won't recognize this dump when I've finished.
But why? Why destroy this beautiful place?
Despite this painful experience, Terry always seems so proud of this movie and the hard work that went into it. The experience did, however, cause Terry to basically retire from directing feature films, something he wouldn't do again until 2015's Absolutely Anything.
The last film I made, Wind in the Willows, I think that turned me off making films for 16 years.
Disney, on the other hand, seems to have completely forgotten about or wants to forget about this movie, as they have not put it out beyond a DVD release in 2004. It's also unavailable to rent, buy, or stream in the US.
That is grateful.
Much like Toad being sentenced to 100 years for crashing a car, the punishment does not fit the crime here. Being that Terry sadly left us 5 years ago, this movie deserves to be rediscovered. It's an incredibly genuine movie that prioritizes performance over spectacle.
Oh, thanks!
encouraging its young audience to use their imagination to bridge the gaps.
I always think, when a child walks into a room, they see the underside of the table, for example, and they think, "Oh, I wonder what that is," and then it's got four legs. Whereas we come in and we see it's a table, so we don't see it. But the child has got to work everything out.
That's right.
There are jokes and gags that will definitely go over kids' heads, but that's what makes it such a joy to revisit as an adult, especially if you're well versed in Monty Python.
Chief has an announcement to make.
Yes, quiet! The chief has an announcement to make.
Shut up, Jeffrey! Gentlemen!
When asked why he ultimately decided to portray Mr. Toad, Terry said, "I love Toad's great enthusiasm for all new things and his vitality of life. There isn't a nasty bone in his body, and he never deliberately hurts someone, but he's also a very naughty boy.
He's a very naughty boy!
He's crafty, devious, and will do anything to get his own way. I really do think there's a Toad in all of us."
Nincompoop!